Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me and my very special guest. You know him from his show-stopping, Tony Award-winning role as the genie in Disney's hit musical Aladdin, and from such shows as Memphis, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and currently one of the stars of Lin-Manuel Miranda's masterpiece, Hamilton. And you know him as the host of HGTV's Biggest Little Christmas Showdown. And this coming Sunday night, December 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he kicks off his concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of the Seth Concert Series, which streams right here at Broadway World. Please say hello to my dear friend, James Monroe Iglehart.
Hello, Richard. How are you doing, sir?
Now, we have to tell everybody before we got started here, we all have technical glitches. It's so interesting what we have to do to connect now, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I mean, I know more about my computer now than I ever did in my entire life. Like, I was able to, like, if you'd asked me like 9 months ago, like find sound things on my computer, like I have no idea what it is. Now I'm like, oh yeah, if I can go here. Everybody's a tech now. Everybody's IT.
That's what you have to do now. Not only are you a performer, you're also a stage manager, a sound designer, a lighting designer.
Sure. So I was like, oh, on my ring light, I have sunlight today. This is great. This is all working out.
And then you got to shift it all another way. You know, James, as we get started, first off, how are you, my friend, and where are you?
I am doing well. I am in West New York, New Jersey. If you were on 70th and 12th and you looked across the Hudson, you'd see my apartment. So I'm doing pretty good.
That's our old neighborhood. We used to sunbathe. We used to live on 74th and Riverside. So we used to walk down to the water and you could see that beautiful strip of New Jersey there.
Yes. I mean, listen, I love being able to look over and see New York. I love being able to have the Hudson right next to me. It's a calming, I love having water near me. So it's a very calming sensation, especially with all the stuff this year. We need some calming sensations.
Well, you have the best view because you have the view of New York City from Jersey. We have the New York view of Jersey.
Trust me, you got the better end of the deal. I really do.
Fabulous. Listen, you know, James, we are now in our 9th month of since the New York theater shut down. I mean, that number seems so bizarre. I mean, every day I sit with someone, I'm like, it's 6 months, it's 7 months. You know, how have you been dealing with the ongoing pandemic?
I've been blessed to be able to be a part of some really, really cool things. I was a part of LG's. I've been a part of Disney Family Sing-Along. I got Biggest Little Christmas Showdown. So I've been able to kind of like be able to work to kind of get my mind off of the sad situation that our theater community is in. But at the same time, I have been amazed at how well our theater community, how well our family adapted to the situation. Nobody stopped performing. We just couldn't perform on stage live in front of people. You cannot stop Broadway folks from performing. We will find a way to perform. And once everybody realized our phones had cameras, it was over. We were like, yes, you gonna see us. So it's been a weird transition. It's been a moment of like, sometimes I needed friends to call me and, buck me up, or I'll call them and, buck them up. It's just one of those, it's just been one of those kind of things over the past couple of months, but so far, so good,
Well, the New York theater shut down on March 12th and you were still in the middle of your run of Hamilton. Like, what happened? Like, what did you find out? How did you find out that day? And what was that day like for you?
It was weird because it was like an episodic series. So like on Tuesday, it was, okay, everybody, when you go outside, sign autograph. We don't know what's going to be happening, but we just know right now we want you to sign autographs, but use gloves. We're like, cool, understandable. The next day it was, hey, everybody, we are no longer signing autographs outside. That's Wednesday. Thursday was like, hey, everybody, we're going to just tell people that you guys are going home because of what it is. We just want to. By Thursday, they were like, so we're going to be closing down for just, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks. It'll be fine. And then we're home for like 2 weeks. And then we find out on the 15th, like it's done. You know what I mean? It was one of those weird moments. It's like it just kept escalating, but it was every day. It was something different. And I remember the guys, like, there's a couple of brothers I hang with in Hamilton. It was like myself, Wallace Smith, Daniel Breaker, and Fergie, and we're all talking. Like, we'd be texting each other in the dressing room right before the show. We're like, yeah, I think this is about the end. Something's really going down. So it was one of those things, and we were joking about it. Then when it happened, we were like, oh snap, this is real. So we were prepared because my wife is a scientist, so I knew, but it was an interesting journey that week.
You know, it's so interesting, depending on where somebody is, because I've spoken to many performers since the pandemic began, and it's so interesting, you know, who people live with and where they're located and everything else, about what kind of news they got right away, and people who took it more serious than others. I mean, like, what was those first few weeks like for you with not being able to go and do the show?
It was weird because it was I've been married January 12th, it'll be 19 years. And it was the first time that I was able to actually like be home. Yeah. You know, my wife and I would be home. And we love weird adventures. Weird things always happen to us, especially so we were able to go to the grocery store. We were standing in line in masks, but we were together. We were like, she was like, I know this is weird, but at least we're together. So it was one of those kind of weird moments of like, where were you when this happened? And my wife, like I said, being a scientist and being a part of the scientific community, I took it very seriously because she did. She kept telling me, she kept telling me what was going to happen, and then a day later it would happen. She was like, yeah, I think this is about to happen. I'm like, really? You really think that? You know, I'm an actor. I'm like, positive. She was like, yeah, this is about to happen. Next day, boom. And it just kept getting, it just kept becoming like that. So after a while, I just woke up in the morning and said, what's happening tomorrow? What are we doing? She was like, this is probably how it's going to be like this. We need to make sure we quarantine. So she was the one that was kind of like letting me know what was really happening. And then we would call our friends and go, hey, this is what's happening. Get ready for tomorrow.
So I was going to ask you, how were you staying in contact with your Hamilton cast and company? Like, how often do you talk to people?
You know what? I have a text thread of some of the guys in Hamilton, and we usually talk at least once or twice a week, sending horrible, terrible memes to each other about the rest of the world, and about each other. You know, so we keep each other's spirits up by just being the same way we were in the building, just phone, FaceTime. And also Hamilton is really, really good. Hamilton has a weekly like Zoom call that the cast can go to and like stay together and talk, and, you know, not just talk about the show, but talk about life, what they're going through, what's happening, so that they have a foundation of their Hamilton family being there with them.
What is it like living in the world of Hamilton and the world of Lin-Manuel Miranda?
That's a funny question, because I've been living in the world of Lin-Manuel Miranda for 15 years, because I was down, we were at Freestyle Love Supreme before he even thought of Hamilton. So in living in that world is always it's always a moment of this. Well, my phone will buzz. I'll look, Tommy or Anthony, and they'll say, hey, FLS is doing this, and who can do it? And we'll go, I can. I'm free. And then stuff will happen. Same thing with In the Heights. What are you doing? Oh, we're doing this. Same thing with Hamilton. Hey, Hamilton's doing this. Okay, great. So really, it's a moment of just being ready when the call comes. And it can come at any time. It can come at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, man, somebody needs to do a show tomorrow. And we've done FLS shows on Zoom. So living in that world, it's just always about being ready, because you never know. Because you know, I shouldn't say that. You know a text is coming. You just don't know when.
And just living in the world of Hamilton, I mean, that musical is just so groundbreaking. It's changed everything.
Yeah.
You must have so many wonderful memories. What's your favorite memory?
I have a couple. My favorite memory was probably being a part of the Lincoln Center concert when nobody knew what it was, and being Mulligan and like watching everybody go, whoa, and then looking at Lynn going, this is about to be bigger than you think it is. And then going to opening night and being able to sit and watch my friends and look around the room and like, just, it looked like a movie premiere. The amount of stars that were there would look a movie premiere. And then getting the call, like it was one of those literally lazy Wednesdays where Tommy calls me and he goes, hey, what do you think about jumping back into the Ham Fam? And I was like, really? It was so casual, because that's how Tommy talks to me. It was really, really casual. And then I think, that first day of where you realize you really have it. Like my first night, I was like, I was good, but I wasn't great. And then that moment where like about 3 weeks later, you're like, oh, I got this. So coming down the stairs for What Did I Miss? I'm like, yeah, this is it. So it was, I have many, many memories of that.
Okay, that first performance on stage, like hitting that turntable. I mean, do you remember anything about that night?
Yes. I remember being nervous as hell, and then coming backstage and Lexi, who at the time was playing Eliza, going, you don't look nervous at all. You're not sweating. You're not anything. And I was like, oh, I said, well, I'm an actor. So My face is Tony Award winning, but my heart is still the 16-year-old in high school going, oh my God, I hope I know everything. So that was kind of how it was. So I was acting like I knew what I was doing, but inside I was going over every page. Trust me.
You have sweated from the neck down into your shoes and your costume, right?
Yeah. But my face was cool. I was cool as a cucumber up on top, you know.
Well, you know, I've spoken to so many of the cast members of Hamilton during the run, and this question has sort of become a tradition. Have you ever gone up on lyrics during the show or gone to the White Room during a performance of Hamilton?
Has anybody seen #Burr's Corner? Yes. Oh my God. The White Room? Oh, if you ask Daniel Breaker, I'm the manager. So, I mean, it's one of those moments where it's like, I am good for like a good 2 months, like a 2-month run of just being perfect. And then like a Sunday will happen and I don't know what, maybe I'm hungry or I don't know what's going on. And my brain will just go, yeah, we're done. I'm like, it's a 3 o'clock show. We're ending early. And I've done that many a time. I mean, it's not horrible, but I've done it enough. Oh yeah, James, it's been 2 months. You good? You good? So I have my script in my room now. So just in case, I'm like, well, it's been a minute since I've gone up. Let me make sure I don't. So oh yeah, I've definitely had those moments.
Is it terrifying because you're on that turntable or something and you're like, I think I just skipped 6 lines of a song or something?
It's terrifying because unlike other shows, Hamilton doesn't stop. You know, it's not a book. It's a book musical, but it's not a book musical. So if you go up or if you like, there's a line that Jefferson has that's very similar in the first act and the second act. And if you put Hamilton's name instead of Adam's name, oh boy. Oh my gosh, it's a whole different thing. And the bird just looks at you like, I mean, the mother looks at you like, and they can't save you. They can't save you. You're just out there. So yeah. Oh, and the great thing is the fun thing is the audience knows. Yeah. I think my favorite one where we didn't go up on lines, but we were being attacked. Brian Victor Dixon and I were being attacked by the biggest horsefly in the world. And it flew back and forth to us, and it got so bad that the audience began to cheer because we kept rapping. It was Washington on your side. We kept doing it, and they cheered because they saw it. The fly was so big in the light. They knew we were being, pummeled, but we still got through it. So those moments are wonderful.
I love that. It's like it's the audience members looking for those Easter eggs. Like, oh, something's happening during this performance. We're here for James's 14th time of going to the White Room.
Oh, listen. There was a lady. I posted something in #Burr's Corner, and they came to the show hoping I would mess up. I was a little offended. They were like, "Oh, we were hoping you have a Burr's Corner tonight." I'm like, "I'm not supposed to have a Burr's Corner. You can't come looking for people to mess up."
But it must be really great to get your first one behind you. You know what I mean? That first up.
Yeah, the first one was a doozy. I actually remember the first. I don't remember most of it, but I remember the first one. The first one was I had tweaked my back a little bit, and so I jumped on the table to do Guns and Chips, and I jumped on the table, and my back stiffened. Like a pain shot through me. So I said, "I'm taking this hospital." It sounded like someone had just like kept pushing mute, and finally I got back on. And it scared me to death, but then I went to, physical therapy, PT, they fixed me up. But yeah, that's the first time it happened. And boy, was that scary. But, it was fun.
You can blame it on your back. You can't blame it on your
I can blame on my back. The rest of them I can blame on my head.
Fabulous. Well, this coming Sunday night, December 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will be live and then a rebroadcast on Monday, December 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing your virtual concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his Seth Concert Series. James, how excited are you?
I'm very excited. I mean, I don't think people realize, first of all, just the chance to get to perform again and the chance to get to perform live again, but also like Freestyle Love Supreme, this is Seth Rudetsky. Seth doesn't have a script. Seth doesn't have a net. Seth just goes. And if you're brave enough to perform with Seth, that takes some pretty big, some cojones for both the ladies and the guys, because you never know where Seth is going to go. Seth can just go, "No, I don't want to sing that. Let's play this." And you're like, okay, we're going to do this. So I'm very excited to be a part of this. I love his concert series. I love Seth. Seth has been a dear friend to me from the time I first got to Broadway with Spelling Bee. So I am so juiced to be able to do this. And we're going to have some fun. Trust me, we're going to have some fun.
Okay, what are some of the songs you're going to sing? From which shows? Which composers? What can you sort of tempt us with?
There's a plethora of things. We're definitely going to do some Aladdin, you know, because known for that. We're going to do some spelling bee. I'd like to, because that was my first Broadway show. The stuff from You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, which was my first show when I was in high school. Yeah. And, you know, I think we're going to throw some Hamilton in there. And then we got some surprises. I want to really throw out there. So we got some surprises from shows I've never done and shows I've always wanted to do. And
I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a moments where you're like, when you're a performer on Broadway, we don't say it, but we all want to be in everybody else's shows. Like while we're in a show, like you could be at, Ain't Too Proud, and you're looking over at Tina like, really want to be in that show. And then Tina's looking over Hamilton going, really want to be in that show. We all are looking at each other's shows, going, I can sing that. And then you finally get a chance. You're like, oh, I'm gonna sing this now. Like my favorite, I walk past Phantom all the time. That's my dream, is to be Phantom of the Opera. So I walk past Phantom like, man, I wish I could be in that show. So you never know. Maybe I may throw something in like that. So it's one of those surprises.
Oh, I just got goosebumps from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet to hear you sing Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera.
Hey, I've been doing Lloyd Webber for many years. I mean, I have done everything from Joseph Technicolor Dreamcoat to Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, come on, Lloyd Webber, we're good. So I love singing his stuff.
I love it. I love your facial hair.
Thank you very much. You know, my wife, I'm one of the elder statesmen. That's the best way to say it in Hamilton. And so I have to color my beard because I'm surrounded by these children. I mean, these wonderful young people. But while we were quarantined, I was like, I'm not coloring this. I'm just going to be me. And so my wife's like, are you going to keep that? And so when Biggest Little Christmas Showdown came around, she's like, are you going to color your beard? I'm like, no, I'm going to go out looking like me. And they loved it. So this is what I look like. So,
oh, I love it. Maybe when you go back to Hamilton, it's like, oh, here's the mature version.
The problem is Lafayette. Lafayette's supposed to be young like them, so I can't come in looking like Santa Claus. With it's like they're like, hey, it's like we're gonna start. Aren't you too old to be a part of this?
Oh, boy, Lafayette's been working so hard behind the scenes. Look at it.
I'm just going great. Just like trying to learn English so much that he's just going nuts. So, yeah.
I love it. What part of your home have you turned into your stage, your sound studio, now that you're doing self-tapes and voiceovers? And where are you going to shoot the concert from on Sunday?
What you're seeing behind me, okay, so fun story. When the pandemic happened, right before, my wife had bought a desk and she was going to work in this room. And she said, you know what I want? I want all your posters up. And I was like, babe, that's weird. It looks like a freaking shrine to me. It's so weird. She was like, no one's gonna see it. It's just me. So I can look up and be proud of my husband. I was like, thanks. All right, babe, cool. And I'll go to work. Pandemic hits. Disney calls. They say, hey, can you do this medley on Good Morning America? So I was like, babe, can I do it in the room? Because the posters are up. Then it became the background of this, and this thing has been in everything. So when it came time to announce the Tony Awards, this became the thing. So after that, we had to get a brand new desk, give my wife a brand new office. So her office looks at New York. So it's in the front room. And then in our closet, yes, our closet, I have foam and everything up. And that's where I record voiceovers. That's where I do, the songs I have to record. So I'm either in this room which has the background, or I'm literally in a tight closet with this mic. I can move this mic around and take that in there. And I'm in there screaming and hollering. And my wife will text me. She goes, you sound crazy. Because I'm in the closet just literally. I do a couple cartoons, so I sound like a complete idiot just screaming and hollering. And it's so much fun.
I love it. Everyone has turned their closet. Like, where's James right now? He's in the closet.
Yes. Oh my God. It's literally that's the name of a Netflix series. Broadway performer in the closet, and it'll not be what you mean.
Well, you have got it all together. Like we talked about earlier, you have to be a performer, a stage manager, a lighting designer. I mean, for Sunday, not only do you have to prep yourself with all your lyrics and your songs, like, is my ring light, does my beautiful backdrop that my wife put up look so great, James, just so you know, the show's behind you.
I had to buy a brand new ring light. I was like, because I had used the ring light I had before. I had 2 years ago. Mandy Gonzalez had one, and I basically went and like bid off her and bought the exact same one. But I've used it for 2 years, so I had to buy a new one. And now, when I would, for significant people with significant others, you walk up to your significant other and say, I need to buy this. And they go, do you really need it? And I walk up to my wife. I was like, I need a new ring light. And she didn't even bat an eye. She was like, fine, I get it. I understand. But just get it. So I got a new ring light and everything like that. I got a whole new setup for Sunday night ready to go.
Well, that's what everyone's doing. They're all like, "Oh my God, look at their light. I want that light. Why did we get this light?" And everyone's looking at everyone's background to figure out how it all works, right?
Yeah, it was just funny. In 2019, nobody cared. People had ring lights, but they had it for like a self-tape here and there, but they would put it away and collect the dust. And everybody I know, their ring light is pristine. It's in a place where you can't knock it over. It's in its own special little, golden palace to make sure it's okay, just in case you need to break it out.
It's totally, you should hang a sheet up, a wrinkled sheet to stand in front of to do a self-tape, right?
I have a blue screen now. I have a blue screen. I should not have a blue screen in my apartment. I have it because I did the Nice List. So if you go on YouTube and look up the Nice List, the musical, I have a blue screen because they had to put that kind of stuff. I have a blue screen because of Nightmare Before Christmas, which I produced in October. So we all have like a movie studio in our house. So then you have to, once you're done with the project, you're like, I should do something else. You're like, no, I'm tired. Let me rest for at least a week. Then I'll think of something else to do.
Your wife is like, put that stuff away.
Oh gosh.
It
was in our front room. The ring light, the mic, and the blue screen were in the front room. She was like, are you done? Have you taped everything? Take this crap down.
So wait, you have a cat. Is it Zoe?
Zoe.
Zoe is your cat. How old is Zoe?
Zoe is, wow, she's 19.
She must think this is a real trip. Like they're both home 24/7. He's performing in the house nonstop, more than he used to do this. Yeah. There's production numbers going on in our house.
It just seems like now she really wants to be on camera. Zoe is always in the way. I have to do my self tapes at least 25 times because there's a moment where I'm trying and emoting to the camera and you're here. I'm like, you're not helping. You're not helping. And then I'll be recording. I'll be in the closet and I'll hear this scratch on the door and my mic picks it up. I'm like, Zoe, you're not helping. But
that's the worst. You're finally doing this one beautiful take of this beautiful voiceover you have to do, and you're meow. Yeah. You're like, oh my God,
come on.
That's a Hitchcock. That's Zoe's Hitchcock moment and all of your stuff.
Yeah.
You must be so excited. One of the positives that has come out of this pandemic is doing these virtual concerts. All of your fans from around the world can just purchase a ticket and they can all watch you from the comfort and the safety of their own home, all at the same time. That must make you feel great, James.
It is. It's a wonderful way for, again, our community to connect and connect with fans that we usually wouldn't be able to connect with. There's those moments where you get those tweets or those Instagram messages. I wish I could come out there and see the show, but this way they can. And there's so many different platforms and so many different wonderful performances happening that it's a crazy time to be a Broadway fan, but it's also a wonderful time to be a Broadway fan because you can see things that you would never be able to see before. So I think this is awesome. And I thank all of the fans who have purchased a ticket, who have supported me and supported all of us on Broadway. Thank you. Thank you. Especially during this difficult time. You are the reason why we keep doing this. And that's the honest to God truth.
That's great. Well, again, the Seth Concert Series is produced by Mark Cortali and is sponsored by BroadwayWorld and StreamYard. Tickets are available at Broadway World Events and at SethConcerts.com. The tickets are only $28.50, and you're also offering a very special 5 p.m. sound check. Let's talk about this extra special thing for the fans.
Okay, so the 5 p.m. sound check is for Seth and I to get together what we think we're going to do for the concert. We have a list of songs, and this is that moment where we decide. So you guys get to watch the moments of the white room. You guys get to watch the moments of me and him going, yeah, no, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes. You get to watch that. You also get to watch the moment of him going, is it this one? Are we doing this? And me going, no, it's this over here. Or me doing the same thing. So you get to watch the show being put together and, get to hear me while I'm warming up. So you might get to hear some cracked notes. You never know. Because once we get to 8 o'clock, it's going to be pristine. But this 5 o'clock sound check, this is for all you guys that want to see the behind the scenes and how it works and how we put it together. It's a wonderful moment. It's a wonderful time. And trust me, it's worth the price of admission, believe me.
Like I said, these are the extra special things that are being done right now. Like you said, when fans come to see you in a concert, they're never allowed in early on when you're doing your sound check with the band. They get in when the doors open. Now they get to see how the magic is all put together. And like I said, see the two of you, unmasked and sort of, that's a Phantom thing when you go into Phantom next. Just
yes,
so you know.
Yes. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Got to look out for you. But I know where I'm going to be at 5 o'clock on Sunday and where I'm going to be at 8 o'clock on Sunday. And like I said, there's the rebroadcast on Monday at 3 p.m. If no one has anything to do, just watch all three.
Please just walk up there. You'll have a great time. Believe me. Also, think about this. This is me. This is me. And if those of you who know me know how crazy and ridiculous I can be. And those of you know Seth. We're together. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the other concerts. Those other people are professional. You got Jessie Mueller. She is pristine and professional. You got Kiala. She's crazy, but she's professional. And then you got me. I'm a part of Free Love Supreme. We never know what we're going to do. We can end up talking the whole time. You never know. Check out the show. You're going to have a great time.
I can't wait. I want to go back to the beginning. You have this incredible career. I've known you from the very, very beginning. I knew you from Spelling Bee and everything else. I mean, so I want to mention some of the highlights and just tell me what comes to mind, a great story or a fun memory.
Got it.
Broadway debuts are very, very special. Like I said, many people were supposed to make them this spring. Then the pandemic hit. And I hope when the theater comes back, bigger and better than ever, they're going to be given that opportunity. They're very magical. Yours, of course, was the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. What do you remember about that first performance and your Broadway debut?
I remember the first performance because I came in late. My cast took over for the Broadway cast a week before I did. So I came in. And so I remember getting dressed. And then one of my friends, Stanley, walks over to me and goes, "Welcome to Broadway." And that was it. We went down. Then we went down to open, and then we all went out to get to the bar, which is no longer there, across the street. And we went there to just celebrate. But it was so funny because I was in New York by myself. My wife wasn't here. It just was one of those things where it was just a regular show for everybody else. But for me, it was my Broadway debut. And it was that moment where Stanley looks at me as we're about to get to our place and just goes, "Welcome to Broadway." It was just such a magical moment of saying, I'm on Broadway. And this is it. And it was great. Oh my gosh, it was so cool.
It must have been so interesting because that was Circle in a Square where you see the entire audience.
Oh yeah, and my entrance came in at the top of the stairs, so I could. When I walked in, I just saw the audience. I didn't get to the stage first. I walk in and go downstairs, and they have to do that Mitch Mahoney moment. So I'm up there and walk down, and the Derek Baskin, the original Mitch Mahoney, and I always laugh about the fact that we're such different types. So for me to walk in, the lady next to me, she literally thought I was going to attack her because I came in, mean mugging and looking, with the braids. It was just a magical moment that I'll never, ever forget.
You're like, "No, I'm in the show. I'm
in the
show.
Trust me, I'm not going to sit next to you. I'm in the show."
So you remember the whole show. Do you remember your bow that night?
No, I do not. I just remember the intro. Everything else, once the intro happened, everything else just went so fast. And by the time I woke up, we were at the bar. I was like, wow, that happened. Okay, well, that's a Tuesday show. Good to know.
Everybody says the same thing. They remember where they were, like that last breath they took, or that woman you talked to or looked at her face before you went on. And then they remember taking a bow or whatever. And they remember nothing else. And they're like, "I didn't kill anybody during the show. I didn't fall over. I think I remembered everything." And people clapped for me.
Right. I was like, "Oh, they like it. Great. That's it." And I got backstage and I remember the stage manager going, "Great job, great job." And the crew, "Welcome to Broadway, welcome to Broadway." It was that type of thing. But that was it. I remember the beginning. And then next thing you know, I was at home.
Love it. You then went on to originate the role of Bobby in the Tony Award-winning Best Musical Memphis. Yeah. How wonderful was it creating that role?
That was one of the best moments of my entire life because that's what I've always dreamed of was creating a role on Broadway. And this was a moment where we didn't create the role on Broadway. The five of us in the cast had been with it for years. I started with Memphis in 2004. So we had been creating and molding and shaping Felicia and Bobby and Huey and Delray and Gator for years. So by the time we opened in October of 2009, we knew those characters like the back of our hand. And it was one of the smoothest openings ever because we knew them. And it was so much fun to show these characters that we had created to the world for the first time. And I remember that night because I remember us being in a circle together going, "Guys," I remember Jay was talking to us. We were like, "We have been working on this forever. This is our moment. Let's just take it and run. If they like it, doesn't matter. We know what we've got. Let's do this." And it was just one of those awesome, awesome moments because we were all kind of smiling at each other because we were like, we know what we're doing. It wasn't like, "Oh, we're nervous. We don't know what," like we knew what we were doing because we had been with it for so long.
You know, it's so interesting with Memphis because I remember walking by the Schubert when the marquee and the awning went up, and I was like, Memphis, what is this? And everybody in town was sort of like, oh, you know, and I was like, oh, it's a new musical. I can't wait. Will it last? You know, we didn't really know anything about it. And I was like, oh, and then all of us fell in love with this musical. I mean, I used to go back to Memphis like once a month. I loved that show.
Thank you.
But watching you create a role, that must have been so exciting for you, like, you know, to have left Spelling Bee and then you have to work on this show and then realizing you were coming to Broadway with a role that you originated. There's nothing like originating a role, is there? There
is nothing like originating a role because you realize there's that moment where you're like, oh, there will be those who come after me.
Yeah.
And I'm at the beginning. I started this and they're going to do their own interpretation of what it is. But this starts here. And it's just because I remember being a kid and going to the library and getting out the soundtracks and listening to the soundtracks. It's nothing like listening to the original soundtrack of The Wiz and listening to Ted Ross sing. And you're like, oh, that's amazing. I wish I could do that. And then Memphis happened. And, oh, we just kind of sat back and we marveled at the fact how blessed we were to be able to do that. And how much Bobby got to change, you know, over the years, you know, from the different songs, different introductions, different lines, and being able to use the talents that I've been blessed with in that show when I was dancing. And nobody was ready for a 300-pound man to jump up and start cartwheeling and stuff like that. But to do that and watch people go, whoa, what is this? I was like, okay, there's no feeling like that.
Yeah. Well, you were superb, as everybody was in that show.
Thank you.
Just so you know. Then you won your well-deserved Tony Award for creating the role of the genie in Disney's hit musical, or I should actually say worldwide phenomenon of Aladdin. How life-changing was that role in that show for you, James?
That was completely life-changing. I can tell you, I can tell you this. Opening night of Aladdin, people were still calling me James Iglehart. People were still putting an N in between the I and the G. By the bows, they were like, Mr. Iglehart. I was like, hey, who you talking to me? Oh my God, you know who I am. You know, it was one of those type of things. And also it was one of those moments where full circle. I was 17 when I first saw the movie, and then to be able to create this role. And it was different from creating Bobby, because with Bobby, there was no blueprint. I could do whatever I want. With this one, it was about how do I create it my way without getting in the way of what people already know and what they already love and what I already love about this project. And so being able to put all that together and then step on stage. I remember at the end of Friend Like Me opening night, when the people stood up, I had to stop myself from crying because we still had the rest of the show to do. And I had to make sure I was like, hold it together, hold it together, hold it together, hold it together. Because it felt so good. Because trust me, Rich, when we came in, we didn't have the best reputation. Folks were like, this ain't gonna work. Folks ain't gonna like this. So when we did it, it was like vindication that we had worked hard and it meant something, and we deserved the accolades that we got. And I was so proud to be a part of that show. It's still one of the greatest moments of my career. Aladdin will always be the one. It will always be the diamond for me. Not the diamond in the rough, just the diamond for me. Because
I mean, just your entrance alone. I mean, you get this star applause. I mean, just from the minute the Broadway rock concert when the genie arrives.
People wait for that. I mean, I remember. You know, it's that moment where you're watching a show and you're waiting for Patty LuPone to come out and the doors have been Patty. You're like, yes. So I got one of those. I got one of those entrances that was so cool. And I kind of sat back and went, this is really happening. But I also went, you know what? Just do your show. Don't do the whole I'm the star. Just do the show and let the performance speak for itself. But with my partner in crime, Adam Jacobs, we had a ball. You know.
I love that. I just think, but to get that applause, like you say, a Patty or a Liza or a Cher or a Neil Diamond or one of these Bowies, you just come up there. That first time you heard that applause, it must have been like, whoa, now I got to start and do my show.
Yeah, it was like I realized the funny thing with Aladdin, with the genie, I couldn't bask in the moment. Like okay, I'll put it this way. I remember going to opening night to see Hamilton, right? And Lynn comes out and it goes, Alexander Hamilton, and he just stood there. He did a Michael Jackson. He just stood there for like 15 minutes and let the people scream. Aladdin, you can't do that. You come out, they scream. You have to start. You have to start talking. You have to be quick. You have to be funny. So I always tease Lynn. I'm like, man, you got to stand there and think about your lines for a second. Not me. Once it came, I got the applause and had to go because they were expecting this bad boy to fly. And that was my job, to make sure that show, once I came out, that show had to go and it could not stop.
So you didn't get that moment to turn and say, thank you very much. And then you go back to Adam.
Well, what's funny is I took it at the end of Friend Like Me. So there was a moment like I always milked that moment so bad. I was like, I would like do the whole I'm tired thing, but I was like, thank you. And Adam was like, you can stop with the thank yous, fool. You just he and I were joking about that all the
They
time.
never gave you the hook.
No, thank God. They never was like, stop it.
Oh, I love it. What does it mean to be a part of the Disney theatrical family? Because no one does it better than Disney and Thomas Schumacher and the whole group over there.
It is a privilege to be a part of the Disney family. Yeah. I love it. I have been a Disney kid since my father first took me to see Jungle Book, and I've always wanted to work in that company. And I have been blessed to do some wonderful things with them, not just Aladdin, but also Hercules. I've also originated a role on Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure as Lance Strongbow, and had Alan Menken write 2 original songs for me, which is just incredible. So to be a part of the Disney family and be a part of the Disney theatrical family, when you think about 25 years and only 2 people have won Tonys in the 25 years, Heather Headley and myself, to be a part of that history and to create a show like Aladdin and to be a part of the Lion Kings and the Beauty and the Beast and the Mary Poppins, that it's wonderful. And I have to admit, producers come, producers go, and the producers know who you are, but Thomas Schumacher knows who you are. Like, he'll text and just go, hey, how you doing? Just want to see how you're doing. You're like, other producers don't do that. They just don't. And it's just to have, trust me, there's friends and there's business. We are like that. But there is definitely a family, and there's also a business aspect to the Disney theatrical entity. And I've loved being a part of it from the first moment I got into it. And from what it seems like, I'll be there for a minute.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I love Tom, and I sat with Tom. I've done some big in-depths with him, and I was at the New Amsterdam doing them. And he's like, he's like, let me text so-and-so while we're setting up whatever. Let me text. I want to find how this one's doing. How's Susan Egan doing? I mean, that's Beauty and the Beast. How's this one doing? Oh my God, I got to send a card to so-and-so, or I got to arrange a dinner with so-and-so. We got to find out what's happening with so-and-so, or someone's birthday's coming up. And I thought, how does Tom keep us all in his head? But it's like, it's his family.
Yes, and he has his crew, and he knows he has the people he likes to work with, and but he's always looking for someone new. He's always looking for that new person to inject new life into Disney theatrical, and it's really it's amazing to kind of navigate through that. And then watch him navigate with you. It's like he's like, oh, I thought about you for this. I'm like, you did? What? Why? But also, you have to think. And then when you come to him with an idea like the Nightmare Before Christmas thing, I came to Tom first. I said, I'd like to do this. Can I do this? He was like, you know what? Let me see. And that's kind of got the ball rolling to say, hey, we have a guy that Disney knew who I was, but because Tom said, hey, this is James, let's do this. And it all came together. So I have loved my time in Disney, and I love my time in Disney.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the voices you created for the animated Disney series, which you just started to talk about. I mean, you've got Lance Strongbow in Tangled. You have Taurus. Is Bullbane in DuckTales?
Taurus Bulba for DuckTales.
Yeah, and then you have Oscar.
Yes, for Vampirina.
I mean, what is that like? Did you have a good time creating voices? And did they come easy for you?
That's what started it for me. When I was a kid, it was cartoons. Cartoons are, I should say, one of my big passions. I love animation, and I have every movie that Disney's made. I have every movie that Warner Brothers has made, and to be able to be a part of that, and also originate a role in the Tangled series, but also to be a part of the DuckTales history, because I was that kid who ran home after school to watch the Disney afternoon to watch DuckTales and to be a part of it. And DuckTales is ending. It's only 3 seasons, this new DuckTales, and I've been a part of it. And the character I played was a part of my favorite part of DuckTales, which was Darkwing Duck. Yeah. Darkwing Duck is a mixture of Batman and Disney, and everybody knows I have a Batman problem. So to be a villain in that show was so amazing. It was our 2-part series, and I got to be the villain. I remember when they called and they were like, listen, hey, because I had auditioned for something else and I didn't get it. And they were like, look, we know that you love this project so much. Would you consider reading for this? And I was like, sure. Okay. And I did. And they were like, yep, that's it. That's what we want. So to be a part of that history, and then to be a part of, Disney Junior, Vampirina, kids across the world watch Disney Junior. And I remember you know, I was that nerd who knew who the actors were, but there are a lot of kids who just like you're just the character. So to be a part of a kid's history and them go, if they ever see you or hear you, and also no one told me that Oscar was going to look like me. No one told me. So I didn't know Oscar was going to look at me till they sent me the picture when it was about to go out. I was like, oh my God, it's got my face. That's 2 Disney characters that have my face, Lance and Oscar, which is, come on.
I mean, what a full circle moment for you to be brought up on Disney and then all of a sudden become a huge part of not only the Disney theatrical stage family, but the animated too. And it's like creating voices for things you used to sit in the movie theaters for or watch on TV. And now you're part of that.
It's a dream. It literally is a dream come true. Don't get me wrong. I love Broadway and I'm never leaving. But one of my favorite things to do is to stand in the studio and do a voice, like no drawing, just the director's directing you and you are creating and going. And then later on, you start to see the process, which takes about a year of all of it put together. It's just one of my favorite things. And I'll do that for the rest of my life. That I do know.
Well, now you can do them in your closet with your ring.
Yes, and I have
there and your microphone.
That was the crazy thing. We had to do some pickups for DuckTales, and I was like, I'm in my closet recording DuckTales. Now, if you'd have told me a year ago, this is what I'd be doing, I was like, you think it's crazy.
I want to talk about, you've done so much TV work too. I mean, you've guest starred on all these incredible shows. Gotham, one of my favorites, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Maniac on Netflix, Law and Order SVU. I mean, everybody wants to get a Law and Order.
Listen, I told myself when I booked Law and Order, I had already done some other TV shows, but I called all my friends and I said, guys, I'm finally a New York actor. They're like, what are you talking about? You want a Tony? I'm like, no, I'm on Law and Order, which means officially I am a New York actor because nobody cares unless you're on Law and Order. So when I finally got to do it, and I got to be in scenes with both Ice-T and Mariska Hargitay, I was like, my life's done. I don't have to do any more TV. I've done the TV that a New York actor is supposed to do. And that was, I had a ball. And I've been blessed to do some great things. Maniac has been wonderful. The Good Wife was my first one, and that was so much fun. That's also a New York thing. And to do Gotham, be a part of the DC Batman family, because I'm a part of the Marvel family, but to be a part of the DC Batman family was great. And then to all of a sudden turn around and do this hosting thing with HGTV. Yeah, I've had a really fun journey. I'm looking forward to what the rest of it's going to be like.
Yeah. So that first time you were on The Good Wife, we have to talk about, because I've spoken to so many stage actors and big stars that, you know, did their first TV show and they were like, oh my God, I don't understand the cameras. I don't really understand all of this yet. What was like that day on the set? Were you like, oh my gosh, I have to learn all this new stuff? Or did you?
No, because our first day we were just in the jury. So it was a great moment of me being able to just kind of watch for hours all the things that were happening. So by the time we got to our scene in the jury room, I was like, okay, I know what to do. And I can't think of his name, and I know I'm going to get so pummeled for this. The guy who plays the lead cop in Urinetown, he was in our scene, and I knew his voice. I knew it immediately. And
Jeff McCarthy?
Like, yes.
See?
Yes. So I was like, that's Jeff McCarthy. Oh my God. So I kind of walked up to him and I was like, hey, I'm a big fan of yours. He goes, oh, thanks. I was like, from Urinetown. He's like, you do musicals? And I was like, yes, I do. I'm in Memphis. He was like, hey, I just saw Memphis. It was just one of those nerd moments of being in there. And Tova was in that scene with us too. And so it's like to be in this room with these folks who were TV veterans, but they were also Broadway veterans. I'm the rookie in the room. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really cool. So it was a great moment. I'll cherish that moment forever too, because it was my first one. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm not half bad on TV. Okay, I can do this, because I was rich. Ooh, I was like, they're gonna hate me. I was like, you got the job, but you're still nervous that they're gonna fire you on the first day. You
keep your head totally great. You just sweat everywhere else, or internally.
I'm cool from the neck up, baby.
So I remember Christopher Siebert telling me for years, it was a running gag with Chris Siebert. It's like, and no, I've not done a Law and Order. I'm the only actor. I think he put it in his bio, like, yes, and I have not done a Law and Order. And then finally he got an incredible 2-parter.
Yes. But it's Chris Siebert, so you knew when he was going to do it, it was going to be big. So,
but it was like he said the same thing. I got it. I finally got it. It's like, you know,
I'm a real New York actor now.
When is my turn going to come? Everybody says the same thing, but it's like, you know, the biggest little Christmas showdown. You had a great time hosting that, right?
I did, and not only I did have a great time hosting it, but we filmed that in August, so it was in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, it was one of those moments where it was like, they were one of the first shows. The HGTV and Food Network Discovery Channel shows were the first shows to start coming back before even, you know, Hollywood and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, they were on point. It was a well-oiled machine. I mean, people were in masks, people were in goggles, face shields. They knew what they were doing. We were all separated. We didn't like interact when we were on those. The talent interacted and the crew was 6 feet away. The camera angles all looked the same, but it was a wonderful and amazing choreographed dance to put this together. And also just to see the artistry. I mean, we make art on Broadway, but to see people make art the way they do in the miniaturist world just made you appreciate. You're like, oh, this is some stuff I couldn't even try to do. And these folks are so talented. It was so much fun to just watch them create. But also they knew who I was. That was the weird thing. I got in there and some of the people were like, they were theater people like, oh, that's James Iglehart. I'm like, you know me? They were like, because they build sets and things. So they knew our world. So our worlds connected. It was really cool to witness and be a part of.
That is great. I understand that when you're not working, you and your wife, Dawn, like to watch pro wrestling and Disney Plus. How much of that have you done during this pandemic?
Let's just say the pro wrestling thing, I had to not really chill out, but because my wife doesn't like to watch it every day. So I watch a lot on my phone. But the Disney Plus thing, we've seen everything. We've seen everything. And also I'm like, I know the deep cuts of Disney. So I was going back to like the shorts, to like Goofy skiing and Goofy soccer, Goofy football. We were going in. The Muppet thing was there. I would also deep cuts, like for people who are my age, Gargoyles, which was a cartoon. Then my wife had to literally tell me, she was like, honey, we have to watch something other than Disney Plus. You just keep going back. I would turn on the TV, go right to Disney Plus. So yeah, we've pretty much watched so many things we've watched so many things. We watched so many series on Disney Plus that we're waiting for the series. We're waiting for like season 2. There's like this one that Josh Gad narrates about National Geographic, the animals at Animal Kingdom. We're waiting for season 2 because we were mad. We were like, what do you mean only 8 episodes? Where's the other one? And we were like, oh, right. They have to film them. We keep forgetting.
Thank you. And you watched all 8 in one day.
Oh God, we just totally, we spread them out. We spread them out. We wanted to give us something to do. Because the other thing we like to do is we are big Bob's Burgers fans, and we are big Twilight Zone fans. And my wife and I have seen every episode of Twilight Zone, and we go back and just cackle our little faces off because we love weird stuff like that. It's great.
I love it. Well, finally, James, what are you the most thankful for this holiday season? And what are you looking forward to the most with 2021?
I am looking forward to 2021. I'm looking forward to everything being open. And I don't mean just like theater. I mean people's hearts. I mean people's minds. It's nothing like having a whole year to reflect on yourself, reflect on the country, reflect on your family, reflect on your friends. And then, there have been many conversations I've had with my friends that kind of opened my eyes to things that I didn't know, and vice versa. So to come into 2021 with a breath of fresh air going, okay, I am open. Yeah. We've been locked up. We've been told what we can't do, what we can do, and to open up and be like, okay, let's see this world through the eyes of everyone. We step in people's shoes and go, okay, be a little nicer, be a little cooler, because we all know we've all been through this. This is something we all went through together. And the things I'm most thankful for, honestly, when you're a performer and you're running all the time and doing everything, you kind of take for granted the folks that are closest to you because they're always there. And I am most thankful for my beautiful wife, Dawn. I'm most thankful for the kids in my life, my niece and my nephew, my cat, my dear friend, Derek Baskin, Brian Gonzalez, my boys, Tyler. I have my little sister, Annalisa. I have friends and I have family who I just care about. I like my boys from Hamilton, Nick Walker, Neil, Javon, Fergie. I mean, all those guys, Daniel Breaker, Michael Luoye, Chris Jackson, my freestyle family. We've all been together virtually. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just something to realize that you have real friends. And in this business, we have 1 million associates. And we have a couple of acquaintances, and we only have a few friends. And I appreciate my real friends who've been there when, you just wake up in the morning and you just don't feel like getting up in the morning. And they text you and talk to you and you're like, no, it's going to be all right. And you do it to them too. So I appreciate those folks.
Beautifully put. Well, once again, James will be live this Sunday night, December 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast on December 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Seth Rudetsky. I could only imagine. I cannot wait of where he's going to send you, my friend, or what, you know.
I am so excited. You have no idea.
The freestyle James and Seth show. I cannot wait. Oh, yeah. The tickets are available at Broadway World Events and at SethConcerts.com. It is produced by Mark Cortali and is sponsored by Broadway World and StreamYard. I want to thank you, James. Like I said, I have known you since, you know, the early days of Spelling Bee and through Memphis and from Aladdin, and been on all the carpets with you and have talked to you. You know, you and I used to wear ties. I was actually going to talk to you earlier.
I was about to say how relaxed we are. That's the thing. I'm not used to us being this chill. I'm used to us being studded up with a good tie.
Because I was going to say, James and I have always worn ties. James always like, oh, Richie, I love your ties. I got to get a tie like that. And then I'd look at James on a carpet or at an interview and I'd be like, ooh, where'd you get that tie, James? So I was actually thinking of getting all dressed up today, but I said, you know what? I think it's going to be a casual thing today.
I said, I should wear it. They said, no, he's probably going to be casual. Let me just casual. Because I thought about wearing a tie because it was you.
All right, so the next time we do this, we'll at least hold the tie up or whatever. Or,
you know, we'll bring it up and go, this is what I was thinking of wearing, just for you.
Just for you. My friend, happy holidays to you and the family and everything, and good luck on Sunday and Monday with the concert. And I cannot wait to see you where I could actually hug you again like we used to do, right?
Yes, I cannot wait, Richard. You give the best hugs, man. I look forward to it.
All right, everybody, until we see you again, happy holidays, stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll see you soon. Happy holidays. Take care, everyone.